Hey guys, my name is Philip and I'm a student volunteer here at Joy Church. And today I get the special privilege of giving you a message on Father's Day. But it is, however, going to be a little different. You see, I myself am not a father, so I'm going to talk about it in a different perspective. I'm going to talk about it as a son. We're going to look at a very familiar parable told in the Bible that shows what a father should be like. We're going to look at the parable of the lost son. As a quick little introduction to who Luke is, he was a Gentile physician and a missionary companion of Paul, and he has the most amount of parables in any of the other Gospels. In Luke chapter 15 alone, he mentions 3 parables, and that's where our parable is located. Luke chapter 15, verses 11 to 32. Now let's take a deeper look at this parable and analyze it in a few verses at a time, starting with verses 11 and 12. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them." These verses give us an insight to just how much this father loves his sons. With just a simple request of the younger son, the father goes on ahead and gives them what basically is their inheritance. In those times, sons did not get their inheritance while their father was still alive, because that would mean that the father would give everything he owned to his sons, leaving him with almost nothing. For a father to do that while he's alive shows how much he loves his sons. This father had split his assets in half and gave them to his 2 sons. In those days, that asset would most likely be the land that your family owned. How much land you owned was an especially very important asset, as it usually determined someone's wealth. Verse 13. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and then squandered his wealth in wild living. Verse 14. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in the whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. In these verses, we can continue to see how immature the son was and how much wisdom was missing from him. He also started to realize his mistakes and how badly he had messed up. Imagine if your parents gave you everything you owned and you decided to go to Las Vegas to spend it on whatever comes to mind, to the point where you lose every little thing. Verse 17. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare? And here I am starving to death. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, 'Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.' So he got up and he went to his father." Here we see the weight of the regret that his son was facing. He was facing so much of it to the point where he's willing to throw away his title as a son and bring himself down to the level of a servant for his father. During this time frame when this parable was told, titles were especially important to the society of the time. It would represent everything about you. It was what dictated what life you would be able to live and what you could own. He was willing to throw all of that away just so that he could return to his father. Now, verse 20 continued. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. The son said to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son." But the father said to his servants, "Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found." So they began to celebrate. Verses 20 to 24 shows the qualities of a great father by how the father in the parable reacts to his son's return. The father does not show resentment, anger, disappointment, nor give the son "I told you so" moment. He does none of that. The father just runs up to his lost son and hugs him. The father did not even let the son finish what he planned to say. The father immediately asked the servants to come and give him the best clothes and sandals for his son. He even asked the servants to kill the best calf and put on the feast for the son's return. The father shows amazing amount of respect and unconditional love towards his son. The father did not care about what had happened to the inheritance that he had given his son. The father did not care about what the son had spent it on or how he, the son, lost everything. The father only cared about his son was back safe and sound. Now, this is great for the younger brother, but Let's talk about the older brother, the other sibling. Well, let's continue on with the parable and we can figure that out. Verse 25. Meanwhile, the older son was in the field. When he came near the house, he heard music and dancing. So he called one of the servants and asked him what was going on. Your brother has come, he replied. Your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. The older brother became angry and refused to go in. So his father went out and pleaded with him. But he answered his father, look at all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours, who has squandered your property with prostitutes, comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him. My son, the father said, you are always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. The father shows great love here too. He does not forget about his older son. In fact, he never forgot about his older son. The older son becomes jealous of his younger brother because of the fact that he stayed home and stayed obedient to his father, and the older son never got a celebration. But the father shows how much he loves his older son by telling him that everything he owns, the older son owns. The father here shows that he has no favorites between his two sons. He loves them equally and does not choose one over the other. And to wrap it all up and summarize it for you guys in a few words, and if you guys don't remember anything from earlier, this is where you're going to listen. A great father is a father that loves his children unconditionally. A great father worries about his children more about his children than himself or his possessions. And a great father loves all of his children equally, choosing no favorites. Fathers are not always perfect, but I know that they try to be, so be patient with them. Be patient with your father, especially today. Not only that, fathers can even be hard for some people. Some people may no longer have a dad to celebrate with or may never have met their dad. But regardless of your situation, your father or father figure had already taught you and showed you these values already. And if not, our Heavenly Father has definitely already shown you these things. I know this message was kind of long, but hang on for just a little longer, since we here at Joy Church want to show a short video of appreciation to the fathers. Here it is. Thank you guys.